and what exactly is going on here? The riddle would prove to be the most difficult one of all.
Oh, thank you so much.
So annoying. I was hoping I could finish that before the episode ended, but nope.
Now I can finally return to a normal life.
But I was so close to finish it. Yeah.
This is one of the most bizarre diseases I have ever encountered.
Yeah, that was quite painful.
I know. That's why we have to help the other villagers, no matter what.
Dark Execution, I can now use this spear one. Which is actually a pretty good spell. But I still prefer Dark
For a
Lands.
sealed verse, that didn't take much effort.
Yes, all a touch too easy if you ask me. It's almost as if someone was guiding us to this village.
Don't overthink advice.
You may say it was easy on you, but for me, that was quite difficult.
Now I can finally return to a normal life.
This is one of the most bizarre diseases I have ever encountered.
I know. That's why we have to help the other villagers, no matter what.
At least there's only about 3 villagers here. This is gonna be painful. I don't actually know if I want to do that again. Guess we have to.
This person must be dreaming too.
It would appear that way, yes.
Can't say I'm very excited to go back there. That dream world sorta creeps me out.
Yeah, it kinda sucks.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yeah.
I breathe the air scent with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked beneath a stairway, in the long uncertain catacombs of the infinite castle. Outside I hear the sound of a funeral dirge that pays without end. Light has no place here. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes an eternal slip by in a single tick of a clock. Someone knocks on my prison. Anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say. You mean, hello? Is anyone there? My saviour. I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters underneath my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh. I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me, I cry. For the love of all the gods, help me. Impossibly, I hear the sound of the lock being torn out and fall into the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired boy and a floating book before the light pours inside and my eyes, accustomed to the blackness, explode with pain and I am forced to turn away. Who are you? I ask, shaking my hands, covering my face. How have I come to this place? I am Grimroar Weiss, and this is Adocat. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand, we shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as Adocat extends his hand and pulls me from my cell. Through my eyes, though my eyes are slowly adjusting to the freedom, my ears are keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sound of heavy rain. I've never seen that word before. I never thought to hear that again, I whisper. Would that this were not such a terrible storm, said Grimroar Weiss. Look at your feet. I force my eyes open and see the water pooling around my ankles and lapping at my shins. There's so much of it. Yes, and there's more to come each moment we delay. If we do not make good our escape, we shall drown in this castle. We know you are weak, but you are our only hope to survive this place. Time that long-forgotten friend made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescues no matter the cost. The castle's catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like an endless entrails of a giant. I squint down the dim corridor and proceed north. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopy beds resting atop of a carpet of velvet, all covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for a door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of grey matter. It has been shoved against the side of a wall, and despite my fever, I think I see the outline of a door just beyond. When I reach a finger and touch the piece of mass, it turns to dust and drifts away on the wind. Realization slowly dawns on me, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpse. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look for it to the bed and back again, until the horror fully dawns on me. Someone has piled these bodies in the tower and set them ablaze. Whether they're alive or dead, I do not know, and the sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. It sounds like they've already lost their sanity. I make a sound, whether a scream or laugh, I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me a merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving this most terrible of rooms. I squint down the corridor and proceed east. I squint down the dim corridor and proceed north. I squint down the dim corridor and proceed north again. At the end of the path, the water rises to my waist, exhausting me both physically and spiritually. I pray this is the way out. Eventually I stand the sight of the water no longer, and I turn my eyes upwards. Imagine my surprise when I see a series of paintings hanging on the faded plaster wall, each depicting a person in the prime of life, clad in clothing of the highest quality. The styles, however, are strange to me, leading me to believe these are people that lived long, long ago. One subject wears an outfit that particularly catches my eye. It is a construct of thin, breezy cloth, decorated with motif of flowers and birds, while encircling the figure's waist is a leather belt and the most perfect construction. It is a stunning costume by my modern standards. As I gaze at the portrait, I'm struck by a desire to touch it with my own hand. Yet, as I extend a single finger to the painting, I'm gripped by the most unpleasant feeling. Staring closely at the image, I see its bend and wrapped shape of another finger. Something behind the picture is pointing at me. Is it another person? A fellow inmate trapped for eternity in this place? I can't let it pass, and so I seize the portrait with both hands and throw it into the water. The wall is hollow behind the painting, and inside I can just make out a body. Whether or not it's a prisoner, there would be no rescue. The poor soul is long dead. Scraps of clothing lie on the floor around the bones. Only a small amount of fabric has survived, but it features the same decorative design as they were depicted in the portrait. I have been admiring a row of corpses blocked from view by portraits of each victim at their pinnacle. Enough shield in my eyes, I pad forward toward through the water. I mean paddled. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed south. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed east. At the end of the path, I found myself at a great hallway with only the sounds of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet swishes beneath my feet as I approach the center room. Once there, I hold a beautiful dining table upon which rests china and silver of the finest construct, as well as the remaining of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. They're all dead. Noticing movement, I approach the chair and the table, at the head of the table, but as the truth of the matter dawns on me, I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse. Of course it is! This guy literally only dreams about corpses, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul wriggling insects have made their homes in the remains, and this is the movement I saw. The once splendid feast was now nothing more than a requiem of the damned. Well, it's technically a feast for the insects. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands and slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze lands on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs proved to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one of them is covered by a layer of spikes that run from the seat up the back and down the arms. This explains the colour of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. I doubt they were. For it's a simple task to envision the agonizing screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasps frantically at the possibility that these souls had committed such terrible crimes for which this was the punishment. Though in truth I suspect they had committed no crime at all. There will be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was the Last Supper. I sprint down the dim corridor and proceed north. Against all hope, we make it to the front door. "Break it down," someone cries, and so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Adocat and Grimoire Weiss, I slam my body against the thick sturdy door. On the third try, it gives way, and we find ourselves sprawling on the ground outside the castle. I find it kind of amusing to imagine Weiss just slamming into the door, literally doing nothing because he has no weight to him. The storm is retreating. The clouds above are still black and foreboding, but to the west I can see a thin shiver of sunlight trying to break through. "How can I thank you?" I cry, as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters, and sheepishly I try to cover my exposed skin. "Your dress?" asks Weiss. "Then you're a woman, madam?" "I am." I proffer the two a smile. I suppose that comes as something of a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that one known as Adocat is disappointed that the torn gaze will be given no further description, but he hides it well. With a nod and a shrug, the three of them set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, providing the countless demmed snows inside with their final shroud. Another moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways, and the corridors clear the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to fall to and fro from the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades. So is that how shades are made?
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
I hear that.
Thank you so much for saving me. I never want to have a dream like that again.
Yeah, I think she might actually be insane. That dream was crazy. I had no idea where I was going in that labyrinth. Like, honestly, these stories kind of feel like a D&D campaign. But, like, without any roles or anything. And also, I've never actually played proper D&D, so... Right, I'm just gonna maybe get take a drink. Okay, let's go.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Vice.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
A colony of massive sculptures were visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. I wonder whether they're called, you know, skyscrapers. Weiss and Adocat had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away.
Nice, this one's voice acted.
What do you think, Vice?
As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage,
he said. Under the heat of a mirage or two would hardly have been an unexpected sight. Adocat nodded and wiped the sweat from his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. How ironic I drank before this. The ancient road on which we walk was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed through the rocky surface as if defying those which had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflected from the road, making Adocat lightheaded. His feet hurting as he crouched down to rest. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us or what? The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. A joke, he said. No joke. This road leads to the City of Art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not, but thinking of it is in this way might make it easier for us to bear. Adocat glanced at Weiss, his grinning face, shook his head and resumed walking. As time passed, Adocat's feet grew more painful and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next steps ahead because the bright sunlight made him hesitate to trust his own senses. We are definitely getting closer, said Weiss, in an effort to cheer up his companion. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, Adocat lifted his gaze. Suddenly he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road, with his mouth and eyes open, and fingers pointing to the distance. Water, he cries. It's water! Water, asked Weiss. Preposterous. I don't see any water. Over there, just ahead, look at it. Look, the sun is reflecting off it. It's all just a hallucination. Without waiting for a response, Adocat sprang to life and bounded towards the sight. What in there? There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Adocat closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind him and chuckled softly. I believe this is what is known as a mirage, he said. Many desert travelers have spoken of such a thing. Adocat shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off to the distance, his eyes wide once more. Wait, there it is! I just missed it. Look, it's right there. Adocat sprung off again, leaving Weiss with no other choice than to follow. After a few minutes of running, Adocat came to a halt. I could have sworn it was right here. Confused, he put his hands up against his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour, until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Adocat and struck him in the face with his cover. I'm exaggerated trying to read it. Enough, you bluttering idiot. Stop this at once. There is no water here! Adocat's face clouded. There isn't? There is not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking, in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not all a waste. It seems that we have arrived at the City of Art. Adocat looked up. Stretching out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures, yeah. Their journey was at an end. They're huge, cried Adocat, completely forgetting the heat and the pain of the past few hours. I've never seen anything so big. That's what she said. Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched towards the sky. But that was where the similarities ended. Most of them were covered in planes of glass that reflected the light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing more than frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their roof, others possessed triangular caps. What kind of city is this? Said Adocat. Where are the people? Where are the houses? Perhaps the land is intended extensively for artistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silently on steel rails. Beautifully carved works and lights of red and amber dangled over the streets. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many of them were composed of materials that they'd never seen before. The sheer variety of colours and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Adocat and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Adocat uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. The 3 sculptures were indistinguishable, except for a single word chiseled into the right arm. One read Alpha, one read Beta, the one read Gamma. As Adocat moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures, alighting on the statue's shoulder. It emitted a brief, beautiful song, then took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. Oh, god damn it, not this one. The false ones will only speak lies. With that, the bird departed. As if on cue, the 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring colours and forms as they began to breathe. Hey, look at that, said Adocat. They're alive. The triplets bowed low before Adocat. Please, said Alfie, you have to get me out of this nightmare. I'm real. Stop lying, said Beta. He turned to Adocat and threw his hands in the air. Alpha is a fake, and you know it. I am the real one. What? A load of crap, said Gamma. Beta is the fake. Everyone knows I'm the real one around here. The requisite pleas given by the three statues returned to their frozen state, as silent as they were once before being enveloped by the city. Oh crap, I was kind of hoping to take a picture of that. The dialogue so I could get it. When considering all the statements, only one of them could be the real thing, said Whis. I threw his eyes on and considered his answer. Oh nice, it put it all back on screen. Oh no it didn't. Crap, I need the text. I need the text. I think that it's beta. But I didn't expect it to move on. I was going to take a picture of the text and I'm pretty sure it was beta. If I go for I don't have a clue, does it like just go back through the text maybe? Took a long look at the statues and tried to clear his mind. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Nice, it's the same thing. One of them forms is real, others are false. Real one only speaks truth, false ones only speak lies. Okay, let's get a picture so I can... I'm pretty sure it's beta. Though Adocat's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Whis nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth at the beginning, in a dry tone of a lecturer, Beta and Gamma would be a fake. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is a fake would be true. Even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, that theory crumbles? Is he saying I got it right? Now let's presume that Gamma spoke... Oh, he's just explaining the entire thing. Now let's presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with the statue telling us the truth. Fine, let's assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma are liars, which would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As we finished the explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly to dust, while Beta sprung to life once more. "Congratulations, villager," said Whis, in a cheery voice. "The time has come of awakening has arrived." "Thank you for saving me," cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head low as it could go, before an uncomfortable Adocat pulled him to his feet. "Why did you have to dream like this?" asked Whis. "Have you seen this city before?" The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. "I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I would have ever been to a place like this, but at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before." "Deja vu," muttered Adocat, "just like the mayor." The vague sense of unease that struck Adocat during the mayor's dream spread once again through his mind.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough. Don't need you getting all weird on me too. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right?
Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much.
You're telling me. Anyway, let's go see the mayor.
Alright, that was very exhausting. We'll do the mayor thing next time.